For most of us, our router bits represent a huge investment within our shops. Taking good care of them, maintaining them properly, will not only give you more life from the router bits that you own, but will give you better results when you're making cuts with them. So, let's take a few minutes and go over some basic router bit maintenance that you can do to get the most out of your bits for the longest period of time. Now, before we go removing the bearing, in order to clean the bit and sharpen it, I want to test the bearing to make sure that it's working properly. So one of the things I like to do is just grab the bearing in 2 fingers so it's free, and then just kind of spin the bit and make sure that it turns properly. Now, this particular bearing on this bit, not so much. Definitely it's not spinning properly. You can see that it doesn't spin as well as this cleaner bit. Now, many bits, pattern type bits, will have the bearing on the top instead of the bottom. Instead of on this end, it doesn't have a screw on it. In this case, I've got an E-clip, so you may need a set of pliers in order to be able to remove the E-clip and then the bearing. But in most cases, all you need is a basic Allen wrench in order to remove the bit or the bearing. Now, rather than try to turn this, that's a sharp edge. I don't want to get that caught on my hand. I don't want to use pliers or try to hold this with some mechanical means because I can damage my shank. So the easiest thing to do is just to wrap your bit in a clean cloth, and you can snap the nut out that way. And then usually there'll be some kind of a dust washer underneath your bearing. This profile edge is beveled backwards away from the cutting circle to allow for clearance. So we don't need to sharpen that. We do want to make sure it's clean so that we don't have rubbing on the wood. That buildup will eventually rub on your wood and cause burn marks. But in this case, all we want to do is clean it up. The gunk that builds up on your router bits is no different than that on your saw blades. So you can always use a commercial saw blade cleaner on your router bits. I'm using a soy-based product here. Just spray it on, let it set for a few minutes, and wipe the gunk off the bit. To hone the face of the bit, I'm using the Diamond Cross router bit sharpening stone. It comes with a 300 grit face, a 600 grit face, and a handle to give you better control. And it's important not to apply too much pressure here. Let the diamond do its work. So I'm going to do the 300 on that face, and I'm going to do the 300 on this face. I'm trying to keep it as flat and straight as possible, keeping it right on flat face to flat face on the carbide. Now I can switch to the 600 grit side, and just what I'm doing is, if there's any rounding over of the carbide from wear, and usually it's actually from heat, but all I'm doing is reflattening this face in order to reestablish that sharp edge. It's much like sharpening a pair of scissors. You're not actually trying to bring it to a razor point, you're trying to get a good square edge. Make sure you work the carbide faces evenly, taking the same number of strokes on each side to keep everything balanced. Now when working with smaller bits, there's not a lot of carbide face there to work with, so it can be a little hard keeping everything stable while you're trying to flatten that. The diamond stone holder slips in, it's magnetic and rubberized, so it helps hold the stone in place on the bench with just a little pressure on your thumb. So now you can set that bit where you want it. And just make a couple of fine passes just to clean it up a little. Now in the case of this bit, I can go through the same process of sharpening the faces. But in reality, what I really need to do is I need to replace that bearing, which we know to be bad. And you can buy repair kits from various manufacturers, Rockler, Woodcraft, a bunch of people sell them. Comes with replacement screws, replacement bearings of different sizes, both for on top of the bit and for the shank of the bit, and some other accessories and different sizes for different things, and even some Allen wrenches to get the right size in there. So I'm going to choose the 1/2 inch bearing, slide it down over the post, and now I just replace the screw that came with it. And that spins a little bit better than it used to. Maintaining your router bits doesn't take a lot of time or effort, but it will go a long way in ensuring that you get the most out of your investment in your router bits. You can find more great videos and learn about our product line by visiting our website at www.m-powertools.com.